Hello, my name is Steve Malbassa, and I'm greeting you once again from beautiful and sunny Cleveland, Ohio. For this week's project, I will be talking to you about my online personality. Specifically, I'll be talking to you about my lack of an online profile. Online profile? You gotta be kidding me. Goodness gracious. This week's reading material talked about our online personalities as being separate from our real ones. Sherry Turkle talked about being connected but alone. I say that's only if you're online enough to make it happen. We have this thing called free will. We can choose not to regulate our lives to an I whatever. Tim Rainer also talked about our virtual lives differing from our real ones in a concept called subjectivation. To me, that's just a fancy word for people wanting to be the star of their own reality television show when they're on social media. We also talked about it in relation to the Panopticon prison. It's like social media, only people actively seem to want to be on it. Amazingly, people actually lie about themselves online on social media. Can't believe it. I have three identities: my real one, or my personal identity, my professional identity, and my online identity. My real one is that I'm a husband, father, son of God, not necessarily in that order, a war vet from Operation Iraqi Freedom in 2003 and 4, a soccer fan. I follow Fulham Football Club, the pride of London. I consider myself to be a little bit introverted. And, like a lot of warfighters, I have a somewhat prickly personality. I consider myself to be a good guy, but at the same time, I keep some people at arm's length for my real identity. My professional identity is I now teach school in a jail. And I promise, if you were in my profession, would you want your little darlings finding you? I've had some bad guys in my classroom. One guy was an arsonist. I've had one rapist. He's awaiting sentencing. He's looking at probably a minimum of 25 years. And I've had many low-level criminals, a lot of drug addicts, a lot of not particularly functional people. I don't want my students finding me online, and a low internet profile is a price that I personally am willing to keep. Now I have no easily accessible professional identity online. I maxed out my privacy settings on Facebook, and I'm not under my real name on Facebook or on Twitter. I had a real name account on Facebook for a while, but I heard a story at work through the grapevine about a former student contacting a corrections officer through a friend of a friend, the way things like that happen online. And I personally am no longer comfortable having my real name online for that reason. I don't want my students contacted. At once, I had written a pretty detailed account in the work section on Facebook about where I work and what I do. I decided better of that. Now it just says teacher in Northeastern Ohio. I was able to keep most of my hometown friends, or all of them I should say, and I kept an avatar, the Fulham football crest, which you see right in front of you. My online identity? Please, I try not to have one. One reason is I'm a bad liar. If I tell the truth, I don't want to have to remember. If I tell the truth, I don't have to remember what lies I told to whom. Facebook and Twitter sometimes feel just like high school revisited, all with the he said, she said. I'm too old for that. I like to use Facebook for news, to follow some military and veterans groups, and a couple other hobbies and interests. And if anybody knows any good math or physics groups out there, I am more than willing to listen. Something about quantum mechanics applies towards your online presence. Quantum mechanics says that just observing an atomic particle will change how that particle behaves. Just the act of looking at them changes what they do. It's true in subatomic physics, it's true online. People in the panopticon of social media will behave differently than they otherwise would because they feel people are indeed watching them. The myth of behaving in a real fashion is just that, a myth. A couple internet issues as well. I would not want to teach my classroom without the internet. I don't know how my teachers did it way back when in the 80s, better them than me. But also another question I wondered as well in the modern era is, why do teenagers text each other rather than talk? Best example I saw on this was a Duck Dynasty episode where the son of Willie was texting his girlfriend who lives down the block. Phil said, why don't you just go see her? Go hug her. Go smell your girlfriend's hair. They smell nice. Are you going to be able to do that over the cell phone? Come on now. I don't know why teenagers do that. Anyway, my online personality is absolutely secondary and subservient to my real personality and my professional identity. It's going to stay that way, and I really hope my young son is the same way as well. I guess that'll do it for right now. Again, my name is Steve Malbassa from Cleveland, Ohio, and I thank you all very much for your time.